Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about multiplying, dividing, and simplifying radicals. This is the second half of the lesson that we talked about before. So we are going to write into examples. Example 1, find the product or quotient and simplify the results. Assume that variables represent positive values. So just a quick review on what we have before. We are going to take most of the stuff that we have done, that we have learned from the previous day, and then apply to the new problems here. Now I show you guys how to take care of two radicals, and then certain times you can just break it down, certain times you can multiply and get the answers that's perfect numbers out of the square root. So I'm gonna do the multiplying first, then take it out. The reason for that is because I noticed square root through 3, there's nothing I can take it out. So when you have square root 3 times square root 6, I'm gonna multiply them together, and that will give me square root of 18. And when you have a square root 18, you can break down your 18, and that's going to be 2, 9, 3, 3. And because it's a square root, that takes 2 to make a group to come out, and there's 3 root, and that would be your answer for this problem. Example number 1 and letter B, please give a try. So for letter B, I multiply 6 and 15, and that gives me 90. I break it down 90, divide by 2, divide by 5, divide by 3, and I got 3. A group of 3 will give you the number that comes out, which is 3. And I have 2 and 5 that is not in pairs. So I left it inside the square root. And so therefore the answer is 3 square root of 2 times 5, which is 10. And that's your answer for example 1, letter B. Example 1, letter C, we are going to do the same thing again. So you have 2x times 8x to the 5th. And that's going to give you square root of 16x to the 6th. And then to break it down, you should know square root 16 is 8. Oh, I'm sorry, square root 16 is 4. Or just in case you make a mistake, here's 16, 2, 8, 2, 4, 2, 2. And you have one pair and you have two pair. So that's going to be 4. And then you have x to the 6. That's going to be x 3 groups. So therefore x to the 3rd power. And that would be your answer. Please try letter D yourself. Now be careful. The index number in letter D is 3. That means you need to a group of 3 of the same thing. So for letter D, I multiply the inside and break it down the outside. I know 1,625 is 3 5s and times 13. And that's why I break down the 5 right here, and that comes outside. And the x to the 9th, because x to the 9th is the 3x to the 3rd 3 times, so it's right here. And there's a 3rd power, but 13 is left. There's my answer D. E is going to be the same way, so give it a try and let's talk about it when you're done trying. So letter E means the same thing. The only difference is now we have to deal with a 4th power right here. So that means I need 4 of the same thing. So 27 times 3 gives you 81. And x to the 3rd, x to the 13, x to the 16th. 81 is really 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 4 times. So that's why I have the 3 come out. And then x to the 16th is really 16 muffin. Put 4 per box, you get 4 boxes. And that's your answer for E. Please try letter F. So for letter F, 5 times 125 is right here. Now here's a little hint. 525 is really 5 times 5 times 5, 3 times. There's one more. That's really 4 times. So I look at, I need 4. I know there's 5 right here. But if you multiply that together, it's going to be 625. You can do your work right here. But since I know this is 5 times 5 times 5, I say this is one more 5, so that gives me the 4 times, so the 5 came out. X to the 10th. Now x to the 10th, oh, there should be x to the 2nd, but there should also x to the 2nd left in here. X to the 10th means 10 divided by 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if you do groups, it's a group of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 groups outside, but then you still have 2 left inside. And then you also have a y, which is y to the 6th, and then you should have left with y to the 2nd inside. So you have y, 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 and then you have a group of y. And then you're left with 2 of them in the inside. And there's the answer. Those are the leftovers. And if you want to, you also can recognize the leftovers because it is 2 exponent and 4 4 is in the index, you can also write the answer and simplify that, which is something we learned. That's really 5x squared y. Now if you want to, that's really x 2 to the 4th and y 2 to the 4th. And when you reduce it, that's really 5x squared y times x to the 1/2 and then y to the 1/2. And because that part right here is really half in their index number, 5x squared y square root of xy. Now, is that necessary? Yes, you need to be able to recognize that, just because if you just leave it as 2 over 4, that is not reduced all the way. So that is kind of tricky right here, is because that's not reduced. So to be reduced, you have to have the half, and half is really square root. So that's some of the things that's a little bit tricky. Letter G. Letter G is going to be a little bit more. Notice there's numbers outside and there's number inside. Worry about multiplying the number that's outside accordingly. So that's really 6. 3 times 2 is 6. And square root of 6n to the 3rd times 15n to the 5th. And if you do that, you have 6, but that's a square root of 15 times 6, and that is 90, and n to the 8. And because of that, then we're going to do our next step, which is break down my 90, and 2, 45, and 5 is 9, and 3, and 3. So therefore, you have a group of 3, and that can come out also. So that's going to be 6 times 3, and then you also have the n. Now n to the 2nd power, a to the 8th, but taking square root, that's just n to the 4th. And then we left with the number that's inside, which is 2 times 5, which is right there. That's not circled. So the answer is going to be 18 n to the 4th square root of 10. That is letter G. And let's try letter H. In letter H, please try it. The number's still outside, so you multiply those and do everything else the same. Start off with 4 times 2, there it is, and 14 times 6 right here, that's 84. X to the 3rd, x to the 4th, that's x to the 7th. And then if you take it x to the 7th out to the square roots, it's 3 boxes going to come out, 1 is going to left, and then 2 times 2. The 2 come from breaking down the 84, and then you have a pair of 2 and 3 and 7. So the 2 come out, that gives you 16. 21 is left inside, and that's from 3 times 7, that give you 21. That is example H, and 16x to the 3rd square root 21x. I problem, I show you guys something like that before. You can reduce it or split it up. Now the reason this is already split up, and I also noticed my 6 doesn't have a pair. So because I don't have a pair, I am going to just cancel them, put it in on the 1 parenthesis, and that's 288. Divide by 6 and see, do I get lucky that way? So 288 divided by 6 gives you 48. Now that's square root. We have not done anything. So I'm going to break down 48 on my square root. So I'll give you 2, 24, and 2, 12, and 2, 6, and 2, and 3. Now because it's a square root, I'm going to circle 2 pairs of 2. Your answer is going to be 4 root 3. And that's your answer. And the next one, you have, go ahead, give it a try and see what you come up with. So for J, letter J, I also did the same thing. I noticed there's no easy way to just cancel, even though 12 can be 4 times 2, which is 2 times 2 times 3. That still gets very complicated. So I just kind of punch in the calculator and see, does 1296 right here divide by 12, does that come out to be a whole number? Now since I got 108 is a whole number, so I kind of start breaking down. That's just giving me 2 pairs of 2, 1 pairs of 2, 1 pairs of 3, and left with the 3. So 3 stay in the square root, 2 and 3 comes out. 2 times 3 is 6. So that's letter J. So for letter K, notice it is a division problem. So what I'm going to do is the same exact thing. I'm going to take the numbers on the outside, divide them, and if it's possible, then I'm gonna probably looking at square root of 7. I'm gonna try to see, can I cancel out with a 756 right here? This is 756 right here, and 7, maybe they can cancel out. And I'm also gonna cancel out 8 and a to the 8th power and a to the 4th power, b to the 5th, b to the 2nd. So technically, I really have like a 3 little problems. So don't get panic. Actually, 4 little problems. So because of that, just do one step at a time. It will be just as simple like you already did. All right, so let's start. So A divided by 2 is 4. Now, since A is bigger and 2 is smaller, 4 is going to go on top. Then I'm going to say 756 divided by 7. Let's take a look. 756 divided by 7, that's 108 again, which is we kind of done that problem. And that's going to be 108. I'm going to put it right here. And a to the 8 divided by a to the 4th, that's just a to the 4th. Just dividing. We have not done square root, just dividing. And then b to the 5th and b to the 2nd, that give me a b to the 3rd. Everything on the bottom is all canceled out. So therefore, I don't even need this line right here. This division line is gone. So now I'm going to work through this problem. Again, 108 is going to be divided. That's 290, 245. And you have 5, you have 9. And 3 and 3. So you get 1 pair of 2, 1 pair of 3. So therefore, that means 4 is going to times 2 times 3 because they are coming outside. And then I left, remember I told you guys to draw a root, but give yourself some space for those letters. So that's going to be 2 come out, 3 come out, 5 is left inside. Then a to the 4th, and then I have a square root. Since I have a square root, that means it's 2. So it's 4 divided by 2, a to the 2nd. And then b to the 3rd, that means you'll have b, b, b. And then you'll have a pair that needs to come out. So b goes right here. And then you'll have 1 b left. Now, the reason I say please leave some space, resolve it, and then make a little bit better b. And then after that, we can combine them by multiplying. 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. A to the 2nd, b, square root of 5b. And that will be your answer for letter K. And one more problem, please give it a try. And that is letter L. Pause the video and check back. Okay. Oh, that's bad. All right, so now let's take a look at this problem. You have 14. You have 14 right here. Divide by 2, that gives me the 7. 315 divided by 5, it gives me 63. X to the 11th and x to the 6th gives me x to the 5th. Y to the 8th, y to the 5th gives me y to the 3rd. Then what you have to do is you break down the 63. You got 3, 21, 3, 7. So the 7 times the 3 pair came out, and 1 7 left inside. X to the 5th inside the square root, therefore you get a pair to come out. You have 2 and 2. Then you have the y to the 3rd, I need 2 of them to come out, so you get 1 pair, so there's your y. So you're left with a 7xy inside, and that's your answer for letter L. And that concludes today's notes. Thank you so much for watching.